Hi, this is Tim Bontemps from ESPN here, and I want to talk to you a little bit about the MVP straw poll that came out on Friday, December 10th. Now, this is the 8th different time I've worked on the straw poll over the past several seasons, and I've tried to make it as realistic as possible compared to how the NBA does the MVP balloting in the spring to try to give us a good sense of where the MVP race is at different stages of the season. So I find 100 different voters from across the country and across the world. There's some international voters. There's at least 2 voters from every market. The whole point of it is to try to mimic the way the NBA does it and to try to have a balanced look from across the league and beyond at where the race stands and where things look. And, to me, the thing that really stood out about this year's ballot is that Steph Curry is a runaway winner, not only in this ballot, but really from a historic standpoint, has a bigger lead in the race for the MVP award than anybody at any point in the past several years that I've done this poll. He got 94 of 100 first place votes in the poll. That's more than anyone's ever gotten in the poll. And he had a bigger lead over Kevin Durant in second place than the gap between first, second, and third last year. Joel Embiid, LeBron James, and Nikola Jokic were all separated by 160 points last year from first to third. This year, Kevin Durant is over 300 points back of Steph Curry by himself in second place. So, and there's another couple hundred points back from there to Giannis Antetokounmpo in third. So Steph Curry, with the combination of his play to start the season, he's obviously going for the 3-point record tomorrow here in Philadelphia, where I am, against the Philadelphia 76ers. And with the Warriors off to one of the best starts in the league, looking again like the team they were in 2014-15 when they began their meteoric rise and went to their first of 5 straight NBA Finals. Him looking like that again and the Warriors looking like that again is why Steph has put himself in this position. If you'd said before the season started that Kevin Durant was going to play the way he has, that James Harden was going to take a step back, that Kyrie Irving wasn't going to be on the court at all, and the Nets are going to be in first place in the Eastern Conference, you would have expected Kevin Durant to be at the top of this list. The fact that he's so far behind in second place, it's just a sign of the way that the Warriors have kind of taken over the league once again, and Steph has captured everybody's imagination. And this this chase for the 3-point mark probably doesn't hurt his cause either, since it kept his name in the news every day. So beyond that, you had Steph winning, Kevin Durant in second place, Giannis Antetokounmpo a clear third place, Nikola Jokic also got a first place vote, last year's MVP. He was in fourth place, and from there things dropped off quite a bit. You had Chris Paul, who's been the rock of the Phoenix Suns in fifth place. DeMar DeRozan, who's been the hard charger for the Chicago Bulls, has really helped lift that franchise to places that I frankly did not think they were going to get to this year, as they're up near the top of the East, at least before they started to lose, a bunch of their guys to COVID over the past week. He was in 6th. Jimmy Butler and Devin Booker tied for 7th. And then from there, you had a few different guys get a smattering of votes. Trae Young, Luka Doncic, Paul George, Joel Embiid, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, all got less than 5 votes. But really, the big story here was Steph's overwhelming lead in the poll. No one had ever gotten more than 91 first-place votes at any of these polls I'd done. That was James Harden a couple of years ago before he won his lone MVP trophy with the Houston Rockets. Steph beat that record. And Kevin Durant, and Giannis Antetokounmpo were also the first time that I had 3 fully unanimous players get votes in the poll. I've never had more than 2 guys get fully unanimous support from across the voting pool. The fact that all 3 of those guys did, again, sort of shows that the race is crystallized this year in a way that it just typically doesn't normally. A third of the way through the season, there's a bunch of different stories going on. Usually it kind of allows things to go in a bit of a weird direction. And then in the second poll, things tend to look a lot clearer. That certainly is not the case this time around, as, again, you've got Steph, KD, and Giannis, really running the show, and everybody else kind of falling behind. The one other thing that was pretty interesting that I think should be noted is that James Harden and Anthony Davis both did not receive any votes in this poll. Both of those guys, if you'd said before the season we're going to play 90% of their games, which is basically what they've played, I think they've both missed 3 games so far, you'd have expected both Anthony Davis and James Harden to be in the poll. Anytime those guys have been healthy the past several years and played their full allotment of games and weren't involved in any kind of trade discussion like Anthony Davis was before he was traded from New Orleans to Los Angeles, and James Harden was like when he was traded from Houston to Brooklyn, those are the only times those guys were not in the poll. Every other time, they've been in the poll. And in James Harden's case, he's been right at the top of it virtually every single time. So for him to not get any votes, I think was a clear sign of his play taking a step back from where it's been in past seasons. I thought he might get a little bit of support given his numbers that looked okay, but he got none. Anthony Davis got none for a middling Lakers team. And obviously LeBron James didn't get any votes either, though that wasn't too surprising because James is on a team that is 500 and he has missed half the games because of various injuries, and he missed a game because of COVID. So I think if he continues to play at the rate he's at going over the rest of the season, if he only misses a handful of games, I expect LeBron to be in the next version of this straw poll that comes out in a couple of months. So just wanted to run through my process and how this thing looked. I thought the results were interesting. I thought Steph would be the winner. I did not think he would be as dominant a front runner as he is. And I think if you're looking at future odds for MVP, I think that, barring an injury or Golden State falling down the standings, I think you have to look at Steph Curry as a massive favorite to come away with the third MVP award this year, which would put him into rarefied air. I mean, you're talking about maybe 10 guys in the history of the league that have won 3 or more MVPs. I mean, that's Magic Johnson, Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, Wilt Chamberlain, Bill Russell type territory. So be a pretty big accomplishment for Steph. It'd be the biggest gap, tied for the biggest gap with Wilt Chamberlain between wins in the history of the sport. He'd become the third oldest MVP in the history of the sport behind Karl Malone and Michael Jordan. So a lot of potential history on the line. Obviously, Golden State trying to win another championship, get back to the finals again after missing the playoffs the last 2 years. So a lot of things in play for Golden State. A lot of things in play for Steph Curry, including potentially breaking this 3-point record for Ray Allen here in Philly on Saturday. But for now, the news of the day for me is that Steph Curry is your runaway favorite to be this year's MVP.